DNA Studios. Step into a new dimension.
Hello guys, welcome back to another DNA Studios episode. Or, well, should I say anime chat or whatever. Actually, it is a Studios episode technically, so yeah, DNA Studios episode. Today is a really cool and special day because we have some announcements to actually do. Also, a couple other things to talk about today, as well as I also have an anime to talk to you guys about, two animes actually to talk to you guys about, and a few other things to tell you. So, yeah, let's get started with the intros here, and with my introduction, and then we will get started. Giggity. Anyway, so if you guys don't know who I am, or you guys don't know, you guys haven't watched this channel, or maybe you're just starting to watch this YouTube channel, my name is A. Goldman, or Aaron. I am one of the founders of DNA Anime Blog and DNA Studios. And we're a blog page that covers anime, manga, a lot of anime actually, really, and much more, food, pop culture, and a lot of other things. We've done a lot of write-ups, we've done YouTube videos, we have a podcast called Nerds of the Decade, and we also do actor interviews and a bunch of other things. We've covered conventions at cons. We've been to a bunch of conventions in the past and are still going to cons today, or these days I should say, recently. Yeah, we do a lot of extra stuff. We even include some game content every once in a while. We have retro gaming stuff, and we have done some retro gaming stuff in the past. We will have actually more gaming stuff coming up eventually in the future too as well. But yeah, so that's kind of an overview of what we do if you're new or you're just joining us and you've never watched this channel before. Yeah, I'm your host, and so anyway, if you guys are just new to us, thanks for joining us and thanks for watching. Anyway, with that, let's get started. So today I have a couple different things to actually. I'm going to do the announcements first. I have a couple things to announce. So one is that we are going to be appearing. If you guys didn't already know, we did appear at StellarCon recently, and that just ended. Actually, we just came back from that. That was really cool. Small convention, one day thing, really awesome, or 2-day thing, really awesome. The owner in the convention was really cool, really nice. They had a nice dance party, which we did do a live video at the dance party. If you just want to see us talking about it and like us there, you can go on our Instagram and can see that. That's up there. So I will post some pictures from that on Instagram too as well. So if you want to see that, go check out our Instagram page. The second thing I want to talk about is that we will be appearing at PunchyCon. So if you guys don't know about PunchyCon is October the 21st to the 22nd, which is coming up really soon. And PunchyCon is a really cool convention. That's actually a newer convention. They got all kinds of stuff there. You can go to panels and do all kinds of cool stuff. But we will be appearing at PunchyCon. We won't be doing any panels, but we will be there walking around doing video and con coverage and stuff like that. So if you're going to be at PunchyCon, or if you want to go to PunchyCon, or you've never heard of PunchyCon, do check them out. Go to their website, look them up. They're in PA, so they're in Pennsylvania. So do look them up. And yeah, if you guys are going to PunchyCon, or if you're going to be there, do say hi or come up to us and talk to us. Or if you want to give us a hug or something, go for it. The other thing I want to mention is that we are also going to be appearing at Ocean City Comic-Con. So if you guys aren't familiar, it's another convention, a really awesome convention, and they've been around for a little while, and that one is actually going on this year, October the 9th, and so if you guys are going to that one also is coming up soon. If you guys are going to any conventions or anything and you see us and you want to say hi or something, please do. Anyway, with that, so those are the couple announcements that I do want to announce for now. Those are conventions we're going to be at least right now. Hopefully we're going to try to get out to a couple more. We are not sure exactly how that's going to work. We're still kind of getting back into the convention circuit. So eventually we will get out to more, but for now, if you are going to be going to any of those conventions and you want to come see us or come talk to us or say hi or something, please do. Anyway, let's get into the anime stuff. So today, and I've been wanting to talk about this, but the show was not finished yet. But now it just actually finished up. So I will be talking about this anime, and I probably will do a first impressions on this one if I have not done one already. Actually, you know what? Yeah, actually, no, I'm just going to do the full breakdown of the show. So today, I want to talk to you guys about an anime called Temple. So if you guys have never heard of this one, the genre is a comedy, ichi, harem romance, which I don't normally watch a lot of these shows because the stories are not always that great, and sometimes you get left hanging, or they're just very they're very up and down. Sometimes you get a really good one, sometimes you get a really bad one, sometimes you like it, sometimes you hate it. It just can be very up and down. You never know kind of what you're gonna get. And for me, I'm very picky with anime, so I like good stuff, and I don't usually watch a lot of ichi harem. I stay away from that genre, try to stay away from that genre. But this one kind of caught my eye because this show it's so you have your comedy aspect of the show, but the story is actually pretty kind of interesting in this one, and it does follow a main character. So the main character, the main character, Kurogami, sorry, I almost forgot his name there. Kurogami, it follows him around and kind of his family. The best way to describe this one, at least that I find for me, is this gave me like the opposite of, or the reverse of High School DxD. So if you've ever watched High School DxD, you know that Issei Hyodo wants to become harem king. Well, in this case, Akagame, he kind of has the opposite goal, where he doesn't want to be, at least he doesn't want to be like his family. So just give you a little overview. He's kind of trying to not be like his father, who always used to tell him, no one deserves to live alone. Well, he kind of is setting out to actually do that, to be alone and to be by himself, so that he doesn't end up kind of being a perv like his family is known for and like his father is known for. So he's trying to escape that kind of image that his father had. And while doing so, he accidentally stumbles upon a temple that is in need of help, and that is falling apart, should we say. And well, not falling apart, but yeah, it is actually kind of falling apart, actually. Sorry, I was gonna say it wasn't falling apart, but then if you actually check the show out, you'll realize that the temple, the Buddha statue, is actually broken in the scene. They show that. So yeah, you could say this temple is falling apart. The shrine is falling apart. Stumbles upon this place, and they kind of take him in because he kind of has nowhere. He kind of goes off on his own and doesn't really have a place to go, and so he stumbles upon this temple and decides to stay there and to help them out, which is good and bad. It's good because he's trying to kind of give himself a new image, and then kind of be alone. But it's bad because he also has a bunch of ladies that run the temple with him. So while trying to escape his so-called carnal urges, you might say, or the craziness that his father wasn't being a perv, he also kind of falls. There are scenes where he kind of responds in a perverted way but doesn't realize it, but then also kind of corrects himself. And so you could say that he tries, but in the show, they are you definitely know when you can see his perverted side comes out a little bit in the show. But the good thing about this one is that it's not as, what I like about this particular story is that the comedy is in there, and the pieces of it, and there are some funny parts in there where stuff happens. Like some of his responses to things are pretty funny. And then when he corrects himself, he's like, no! Anyway, he's like, I didn't mean that, right? But anyway, but some of his responses and some of the way the comedy's in there is just slightly added in. So instead of like being so heavy on the comedy aspect, and so heavy on the slapstick, and so heavy on the perverted stuff, there's just pieces of it in there, instead of it being all slapstick or all kind of relying on that fan service aspect. They don't totally rely on fan service for this one, so it is kind of a little bit better, I would say, in terms of the story and the and the characters, because you really do get to know some of the characters in this story, and they all have unique personalities and interesting stuff. The only thing that I will say that I kind of didn't like about this one was that they don't reveal the. There is kind of a not villain, but I would say just someone that's up to no good in this story, and they don't reveal that till later on, which really stumps me because you're left with a lot of questions, asking a lot of questions afterwards, and like um, the way they end it, it's like you still are left with asking a lot of questions, like did the person who's trying to sabotage the whole temple, are they behind everything, right? And also, what happened? Did they ever succeed? And then does Akagame ever truly stay, or does he get kicked out? Because in this show, in one of those scenes in the show, the character who's trying to get rid of him tries to would kind of plots against him, and there's also another organization behind this. Keep in mind, this other character who's plotting to get rid of him is also connected with a big organization and someone else who apparently doesn't want him to be there. So you never find out the identity of that kind of organization who's trying to sabotage or trying to make the temple fall. But you do get some backstory into Korigame, and he is a good character and a good person, and so are some of the other characters in this series, some of the female characters in the series. And like, so you don't do that, and then it also it just leaves you it feels like it leaves you hanging. Which, look, I'm not gonna say this is bad. There are a lot of anime that leaves you hanging. I would like to see another season though, because if they could continue where they left off and kind of just give you more information and like see where it goes. I think it would be interesting to continue. But then again, with this kind of genre, I would say usually when they do second seasons, they rely heavily on fan service, which can they can sacrifice on story and tend to go more the fan servicey route. So in this case, I'm not sure if it would ever get a second season, or if I would really want to see that, since sometime in the past with the comedy ichi harem genres, they tend to get really crazy when they do more of it, and you lose some of the storyline, or you lose a lot of the good aspects from the first one in the second half. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say whether if they do a first one, or if you guys check this one out, let me know. But really interesting show, and like I said, I think it definitely does remind me of the opposite of High School DxD, because the character is actively trying to not be a pervert. And there are a lot of really funny moments in here where it'll make you laugh. There's also a sad aspect to the story where some of the emotions and the pieces in here are kind of sad, and then also the fact that they never really finish, or the story never really it ends on a good note, but you get the feeling like you're also left on a cliffhanger, because they get up to the point where they almost fix the temple, or just about ready to fix the temple, and Akagame is about to take on the next. They're trying to become the head priest for this temple, so they can fix up the place to restore it back to what it once was. And one of the other characters, their mother or their parents used to run this temple back in the day, and it used to be this awesome place. So Akagame and the other characters are trying to fix up and restore that, right? Well, they get you all the way up to the point where they make progress at the whole show in kind of fixing everything up. They all get their attitudes, or they all get their personal issues straightened out, and they all kind of finally get along, because in the beginning they didn't kind of get along too well, or at least they didn't want Akagame there to begin with. But then kind of when they see what kind of person he is, they kind of get used to him. Keep in mind that the characters in the beginning that you're introduced to aren't used to having anybody other than themselves at this temple, so they're kind of all women that are they're kind of not loners, but they've been that way they've been in this temple for a while. They've grown up there. That's like their kind of house, their kind of place where they're staying. So when Akagami comes in, they're like, oh, like, you shouldn't be here, and like, this is not the place for you, or whatever, and go find a place to stay. which might seem a little mean in the beginning, but when you realize the situation that they're in and that he's in, you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of perfect because they're both in a similar scenario. But they don't figure that out till later in the story. But eventually they get you all the way up to the point where Akagame is about to trying to become the head priest so that they can save this temple. Now, keep in mind that the statue and the Buddha statue that is the main like centerpiece in this little temple or whatever the head is still broken off. So, and they still don't have very much money, and they still are kind of trying to get this place back up and running. But they get you all the way back up to where he's just about to go off to make money to actually get the temple back to what it previously was, and they try like a whole bunch of stuff throughout the show and to try to raise money for the temple and try to fix the place back up or whatever. And so they get you all the way up to that, and then the series ends on episode 12, and they kind of leave you with a cliffhanger because the one character who's still trying to sabotage them is still there and it's kind of undercover, and they can. It's hard to say whether all the characters know about the sabotage, because in the show, the best friend of one of the characters is actually trying to sabotage them and trying to get one of the characters to give in to her, to basically be a harem queen, pretty much. And give in to her urges, and that character doesn't want to, and that character is very much like Akagame, who doesn't want to give in to their carnal urges, shall we say. So there are a couple funny parts of that, and that kind of is like one of the characters in the show is kind of sabotaging him, trying to get rid of Akagame, and doesn't want him there, and kind of doesn't like him. At least you get you get a little bit of a hint that this character is not a fan of Akagame, and he kind of ruined her plans. So that happens, and they leave on a cliffhanger with that, where you don't really find out whether she kicks whether he leaves the temple or whether he stays in the end. And it seems like he stays, but that character sabotaging them is still there. So they never really tell you what happens to that, or whether the character sabotaging them does succeed in actually getting rid of him. And they leave you on a cliffhanger where you don't find out whether Akagame does actually fix the temple. So that's the only thing I would say with this anime is it feels very unfinished. So be aware if you're going to check this one out, it's very kind of unfinished. It doesn't feel completed. Now it says complete, and there's only 12 episodes, but it does feel very incomplete, I would say. There's one thing I would say for this one is that for this particular anime, I like how toned down they are with comedy. The comedy's not aggressive, and it's not in your face. It's enough to make you laugh, enough to keep you interested, but it's not gonna be like in your face, like people flying every 5 minutes, which is good because usually anime where people are flying through the sky getting punched through the sky every 5 minutes, it usually doesn't have the story is usually not as good, or I don't find them to be as funny. Whereas this one, or even funny at all, to be honest with you. But this one, because it's kind of toned down and there are like some comedic moments in there, and they're not heavily relying on it so much. And also the fan service is there, but it's not the main aspect of it, and not front and center like in some shows. That is kind of what I like about this particular anime. The only thing that really got me to actually watch this, because like I said, I do not usually watch. I don't normally watch comedy / ichi harem shows. So just be aware that if you do check this one out, it is a little unfinished, but the story for the most part I think is pretty good. And if you liked High School DxD and some of the funny stuff that was in that, you may actually like this one as well. It is funny, and there are a lot of good, hilarious, like there's some pretty good lines in here and some pretty funny moments in here. And the characters are good, and the story is not bad. It's just a little unfinished. The next thing that I actually really want to talk about, I have one other thing to talk to you guys about. The next anime I want to talk to you about is, if you guys don't know, or if you guys didn't know, I did a whole video on this, so go back and watch my other video if you want to hear more about this. And I will do more once more comes out, but I want to mention to you the second half of Eminence Shadow. Yes, that's right. Eminence Shadow is coming out now. They've started to release episodes. They just did the first episode, and they have recently, I think just the second episode just came out recently. I did watch the first episode. I do have some thoughts. I will say this. Shout out to Adam Gibbs, the voice actor who does Shadow, or Sid, the main character in Eminence Shadow. Very talented actor and amazing voice actor, I think. And also shout out to the Japanese cast too. Japanese cast for Eminence Shadow was also really good. I've checked out the Japanese version, and I would say the Japanese cast is also really amazing. So yeah, if you're looking for more Eminence Shadow, there's more. The first episode blew me away for the second season. Like, that ending scene, whoo, at the end of that first episode, dang. Anyway, go watch it. I'm not going to spoil anything. But I will say that Eminence Shadow is getting into, if you're not following it right now, it is up to the second half is with the vampire clan. So they're getting into the vampire, the queen of, or the king or queen of, yes, I think it's the queen of vampires. So they're getting into that part of it, which should be really awesome. So yeah, Shadow Garden is going up against the Queen of Vampires, which would be really awesome to see. I have not watched episode 2 just yet, but I will be watching it. And once more episodes come out, I will do some first impressions for the second half and some of my thoughts on the second half. But dang, really, really cool anime. If you're not watching it, go check out Eminence Shadow. Also guys, if you guys did not know, we just did an updated, we do hand out business cards. So we just did an updated business card. Here's our update card. If you want to, now you can scan this QR code, and you can go to our merch store to pick up merch. So don't forget, guys, we do have merchandise. You can pick up a really awesome mug like this, or we also have a really cool shirt. Let me see if I can show you. Whoop. Like, whoa, where's my other mic here? Oh, like the one right there, which is front and back. So you have DNA Studios on our DNA Anime blog on the front, and DNA Studios on the back. Really comfortable, really awesome shirts. So if you have not yet, or if you guys didn't know, there will be a link in the description below to either pick up. You can pick up a coffee mug or one of our really awesome shirts, and go grab your merch. Also, if you have not already, please do get over here and subscribe, because there will be more. And with that, guys, I will see you guys next time. I hope you love this. I hope you liked this episode. Do click the subscribe button. Leave us a like. Leave me a comment down below if you want. And we will see you hopefully at the convention, at one of the conventions. Hopefully, if you guys are there, we always like to see fans and people at the convention. So if you're coming, do say hi. Anyway, with that, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Hi there. Please subscribe or follow DNA Anime Blog and DNA Studios on all of their social media platforms. Okay, bye!